Can do that. Hey, Dave, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
All right, awesome. Just your thoughts from yesterday's draft stuff and like how you sit with your roster now.
Well, we're really excited about our roster and excited about the draft, the way it went. Obviously, we lost a few kids on both ends, kids that were already in our program, and obviously 3 that were going to hopefully be here. But we knew we were probably going to lose those 3. But we kept some really good players. There's a few more of these guys that could have signed, and they had their number real high. A couple 3 in-state kids that if they would have, had a number that would have been half of what they wanted, they would have seen their name called. But instead, they chose to come to school and stick to that number and stay strong. We appreciate it.
Okay. Can you speak specifically to Casey? I guess he had his number high, and I guess he'll be back. Have you had that communication with him? And then what you thought of where Casey Martin went?
Yeah, Casey Opitz, he had an opportunity to sign. He just had to lower his number a little bit. He didn't feel like that he wanted to do that. It wasn't a good fit for him. And, he'll be back. We're excited to have him. And as far as, Casey Martin, he fell a little bit as far as, the number or where he was picked. I knew the Phillies really, really liked him, and that was only their second pick. And when he fell to them, they were really excited about that. But he's still going to get paid really nicely, and I think that bottom line, he's with an organization that really wanted him, and he feels good about it. So I'm happy for him.
Okay, I know the other folks have questions too, but just finally, the catcher situation you have now, it's pretty stacked. What are options that you might have there?
Well, we've talked with both of our transfer catchers that were coming in that if, the outside chance that Opitz came back, that, we're going to let them do whatever they need to do if they, they don't want to come in now. So we're in the process of working through that right now. Obviously we'd like to at least keep one of them.
Well, hello. It's our Monday show. We made it. Had a great weekend. I hope everyone had a blessed weekend and ready to get back to work. I know we are, as we let you hear audio from head baseball coach Dave Van Horn talking about the Major League Draft. Casey Martin will be moving on to play with Philadelphia. And also, too, came out today here just moments ago that soon-to-be junior small forward Reggie Chaney will be transferring and entering his name in the transfer portal and will be leaving the University of Arkansas. And I'm going to go over to my producer real quick, my guy behind the scenes. And once again, I want everybody to know all beats produced that you hear here on the Hill are produced by Sauced Up Entertainment, Sauced Up Radio. Demetrius and his guy do a great job of, making beats. So if you got a huddle, you need something, maybe you want to check out Sauced Up Radio. You can check out their YouTube page. That's Sauced Up LLC, isn't it? That's the YouTube stream? Sauced Up Entertainment. All right. So Sauced Up Entertainment. We'll go over here to Demetrius. And, we knew at some point somebody on this basketball team was going to have to remove themselves to make it 13, eligible if Isaiah came back. That's been made a lot easier with Reggie Chaney. This is a guy, Demetrius, I've been a proponent of. Felt like he had a really huge upside for those that listen to the show. But I can't say I'm surprised at this decision because I thought it was just inconsistent. The young man has all the talent, but it just seems like he could never get out of his own way.
Yeah, I just really think that that relationship never grew to what it was. You think about uh, what's-
Right, and you know, coming from Findlay Prep, this was a guy, Demetrius, that came in, like you said, with a lot of expectations, a lot of hype. I mean, that's a program that's known to put high major players in big time programs and have a lot of success. It just unfortunately just never seemed to materialize here at the University of Arkansas. But with that being said, all our prayers, our hopes, and we wish the best for Reggie Chaney. We know he's going to land in a great spot, and we just hope that he's able to find a program that he's comfortable with and really can take advantage of all that skill set that this young man has. But we got a big show today. Arkansas and Coach Eric Musselman at 12:01 this morning was able to contact the class of 2022, and boy, did they ever, as they reached, I know, to my knowledge, at least 8 to 10 young men. We're going to talk to Kevin McPherson of AR Hoops and also Hogville.net. We'll get his take on who were some of the guys that Coach Muss and staff reached out to in the early contact period for the rising juniors. And then we're going to make our way to Rockledge, Florida, and talk to, the Rocket. He's flying in, and we're going to talk to him, and he's going to tell us why he chose to be a Arkansas Razorback. We'll get all that take, and then we're going to close it out as we're going to head to California to talk to the big fella, Noah Palalian. The big 2021 offensive tackle, has an Arkansas offer, and we're really interested in, just the plan that Coach Pittman and Coach Davis is going to have for that offensive line going forward here at Arkansas. Young man's got a lot of options. We'll talk to Noah and get his take on just where Arkansas sits in the pecking order. All that's coming up. So let's take a break, and man, you know what we got to do. We got to get it. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. Back in a bit.
Hey, Coach. So what did you think about Heston and him going second overall?
Really excited for him. I think it's a great fit. Number one, because once he gets to the big leagues, and I've said all along, I feel like he's a big leaguer. It's a great park to hit in. And Heston uses the whole field. He's not just a pull guy. And the ball jumps all over that park, and it's not a real big park. And I just feel like that's a really good fit for him. And, we had gotten wind of it that he may go in this, to Baltimore with the second pick, and that they were working a deal, and they had a lot of picks early, and they were going to try to get a few guys, and it ended up playing out.
And the guys can't come back on campus until I think it's July something, but what kind of interaction are you having with them right now?
Mostly just texting, and a few phone calls here and there. Got some texts last night when the draft was over, from a couple of our guys, because there was a few of our other players in here that are older kids that if they would have had a little lower number or really would have made an effort to sign, they could have, or they could sign now for $20,000, but we don't see that happening. The guys are kind of banded together and going to come back and make a push for themselves personally to get paid a little better, but also hopefully win a championship.
All right, Coach. Thank you.
Okay.
Bobby.
Hey, Dave. Sometimes as a student, you can kind of get in that mindset like, hey, I'm going to go in. This is my last semester. And there's probably some guys that might have been drafted, rounds 5 through 4. Had this been a normal year, how do they kind of gear back into coming back to school for another year and getting back into the college baseball mentality?
Yeah, it'll take a little bit of time, and we have a little longer.
Back to our Monday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio here on KDSJ 479. We come to you 1 to 2 p.m. Monday through Friday. And Arkansas and Eric Musselman, as of 12:01 this morning, were able to reach out to rising 2022 prospects, and boy, did they ever. And so with that being said, we had to go and find the guy that knows all, Hogville.net and AR Hoops, Kevin McPherson. Okay, welcome to the Hill, my man.
Hey, Pat, good to be with you, my friend, as always.
Busy this morning, my man. Arkansas and Coach Musselman and staff were able to reach out to the class of 2022 prospects. They did in a big way. Talk about some of those names that they were able to reach out to, in particular the in-state guys. There's 5 really big-time 2022 prospects in a deep class. Talk about those young men.
Yeah, I mean, Arkansas has in the last, several months put out offers to 5 in-state kids. It's going to be another strong in-state class, obviously, if there's 5 offers going out. And that's Darian Ford out of Magnolia, Nick Smith Jr. out of Sylvan Hills, Joseph Pinion out of Morrilton, Khalil Ware out of North Little Rock, and Javion Guy King at Little Rock Mills. But that's 5 players that Arkansas reached out to just after midnight. Head coach Eric Melsman, assistant coach Corey Williams, really were burning up the phone lines because, June 15th every year is that sort of that deadline for where that sophomore class turning into junior class.
Right.
It's the first time they can be contacted directly by coaches. Now, these players, obviously them and their families can take visits. Not right now because of COVID-19, but the way it works annually, you can go on campus and meet with coaches. You can contact the coaches and have contact with them. They can offer you scholarships, things like that. But until this deadline hits each year, coaches cannot have direct contact with the recruit, with the student athlete until that time. And so that's the difference. And it's special. These kids love hearing from the coaches. Now they don't have to call the coaches. The coaches can call and text them. And that's what we saw at the strike of midnight. I mean, you talk about Darian Ford. This is a 6'3" combo guard in Magnolia, back-to-back state titles. He's a national top 40 guy, according to Rivals.com. Got a ton of offers. In fact, a ton of schools contacted him after midnight, not just Arkansas. And Texas Tech was one of those, and the Red Raiders offered him. Nick Smith Jr., now 6'4" combo guard at Sylvan Hills. A flood of schools reached out to him, including Kansas. Obviously, Arkansas did. But I got to see him work out last week. He continues to grow and build on his skill. Joseph Pinion, who's a big name that splashed in the last few months. Kansas recently offered him. We know Arkansas did. But Arkansas coaches were on the phone with him. Several direct messaging him. Several schools did. Murray State offered him a scholarship as well last night or after midnight. And then you talk about Javion Guy King. Again, Arkansas reached out. Khalil Ware, the 6'11" forward center at North Little Rock, heard from Arkansas in several schools. Illinois was one of the schools that offered him a scholarship, as did Texas Tech. So you had multiple players not only hearing from coaches after midnight, including the Razorbacks, but some of them got new offers, Pat.
Talk about the out-of-state talent that they were able to reach out to. Colin Smith is a guy at St. Mark's there in the Dallas area. Teammates with Harrison Ingram was a guy that jumps out. Mark Mitchell and also Aiden Shaw, Jaden Bradley, and Derek Whitehead. Talk about these types of players and how Arkansas has been able to just reach out and get the brand out to such quality of the basketball player that they're after.
Well, that's just it. I mean, you're talking about Arkansas and Eric Musselman. They cast a wide net, and obviously they're trying to shore up the home state and the footprint states, the border states, but they're also reaching out across the country. And some of these guys, I mean, Colin Smith's in one of those footprint state schools, Dallas St. Mark's, like you said. He's class of 2022, 6'7" player. And we know that Arkansas, when we're talking about St. Mark's, Harrison Ingram, 2021, Arkansas really trying to get him a 5-star. But, Colin Smith's a guy that Arkansas has, when you're recruiting older players, you also get to see and evaluate the younger players that are coming up. And this is one example of that. And so, Arkansas reached out to him. You look at Prince Alib up at Minnehaha Academy, loaded with talented players, national top 50 guy. He told me that Musselman reached out to him today. And all those names you mentioned, these are guys that Arkansas has been doing either offering or doing virtual tours with when they can. But then making the direct contact when they can now. It's just the way to keep that net cast wide, stay on the radar, because here's the thing, it's just like anything else. It's a numbers game, and the more that you work and the more that you stay in on, the more opportunities you're going to have to get visits in the future and land some as commitments. And we've seen a national top 5 recruiting class and a heavy haul of high-level grad transfers. We see Musselman's formula, right, for kind of mixing in the up-and-coming talent with the veteran guys. And this is part of that work as they look to the future.
When you talk about the 2021 class as well, Deron Holmes Jr. Comes to mind. Who are some of the guys still yet? And if Coach Crutchfield leaving, we don't know how that's going to affect those young men that he recruited, like Trey Alexander, KJ Adams, Damian Collins and those guys. But talk about Deron Holmes. I know he's a guy that Arkansas has really reached out to, but that goes back to the days even further when Muss was at Nevada and had the relationship. Talk about that young man, and what have you seen when you've been out on the summer circuit, if you had a chance to see this young man?
Yeah, I mean, you look at the 2021 class. That's one where Arkansas, they made an offer to Jalen Ricks at in-state. He, of course, ended up at Oak Hill Academy with K.K. Robinson last year. There's a guy that Arkansas continues to evaluate. But when you look around the country, again, we talk about casting that wide net. You just mentioned Deron Holmes. I mean, another guy at Wooddale in Memphis who I got to see multiple times. And he, as a junior this past year, Jonathan Lawson and that Lawson brother family. I mean, those guys are all really good basketball players. And Arkansas offered him. Has been doing virtual tours with him. But he was the Gatorade Tennessee Player of the Year as a junior. And like I said, I got to see him go head-to-head against Devontae Davis. But here's a guy that Arkansas continues to work. You talk about Langston Love at Montverde Academy, right. 2021 top 25 guy. The list goes on, and really, when you look at guys like Peyton Watson, a high-level five-star that Arkansas had more than one virtual tour meeting with. There's just so many right now when you think of what Arkansas is trying to do. Kendall Brown, another five-star at Sunrise Christian in Kansas. But you've got, again, that wide net. And so as we play that numbers game, and we see, too, this is the thing. Right now, Arkansas is filled up on scholarships. As Reggie Chaney announced today that he's going to transfer, or it's been announced that he will be entering the portal. Arkansas is back to 13 scholarships. Well, they've got 3 senior grad transfers. They're going to free up 3 more openings, and we know players transfer. So Arkansas is going to continue to saturate each class on the high school level as well as that transfer portal. And really, if you see Musselman's, I mean, I think year in and year out, we'll probably see half the roster at least turn over.
Do we expect more to enter in the transfer portal, or is just Reggie Chaney will probably be the lone individual that will move on for next year's season? How do you see that going? And with the Reggie moving on, who steps into that vacated spot? I mean, Reggie did play 2 years in the SEC. So with that being said, Kevin, who's next man up to get those minutes?
Well, I think we see that they added Justin Smith and Vance Jackson, the 2 grad transfers. They got Vance several weeks ago, Justin Smith this past week, but you're talking about experienced starters. Vance Jackson coming from New Mexico, 6'9", versatile, skill guy that can, even at that size, can really attack, facing the basket from the perimeter. And then Justin Smith, who's kind of like a rich man's Adriel Bailey, if you want to put it that way, who just graduated, a little taller, a little bouncier, more productive, more efficient. So he steps in. But I also think Ethan Henderson, let's not completely sleep on Ethan right now. He stepped up and was, joined that Arkansas starting lineup late in the year for the last 5 or 6 games and was productive and really defensively, I thought, helped, and on the glass too, and defending the rim, I thought did a good job. So let's see what he does. And of course, Connor Vanover. So I think Reggie Chaney had had upside. His potential, I don't think he quite lived up to some things that were expected. But I don't think this is a big loss given what Arkansas is bringing back.
Well, Kevin, as always, love having that scoop, man. You bring it like no other, and we'll continue to touch bases. It's only going to heat up going forward. But for now, my man, thanks for taking time out here on OTH.
Good to be with you, Pat. Thank you.
That was Kevin McPherson of AR Hoops and also Hogville Night. He gives a 4-1 Hogville.net, I should say, and Pig Trail Nation. I didn't mention that. We got to give them some love, too. He's also with Pig Trail Nation. You can catch him on Sunday nights on their recruiting segment show when you talk basketball. Just does a great job. But we're going to step away, get a real quick break, let you hear more of the Dave Van Horn presser, and then we'll be back with the newest Arkansas Razorback, Raheem Rocket Sanders from Rockledge, Florida. The athlete's going to tell you why he chose to say Woo Pig Suey. That's all coming up. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. Let's get it.
Gotten in the transfer portal to see what their options may be because I wanted to give them a little bit of a head start. And there's still a few more that we've got to talk to and really discuss some things with them about the numbers and where they were last year, and the same guys are coming back in the same areas that, positions that they play and let them make an educated decision. And in some cases, I'm sure some of them might move on.
Thanks, Dave.
Yep.
Nate Allen. Nate, can you hear us? Let's go to Bob.
There we go. Wait a minute. Can you hear me now?
Go ahead, Nate.
Dave, with Robert Moore, will he move to shortstop next year since Casey's officially drafted and everything?
Well, I think Robert will work out at short a lot in the fall, and we've got a couple other guys that play short as well. Robert's an awfully good second baseman, as you saw, and turns a double play really well. But we'll experiment with it and we'll figure it out. Most of the time when you recruit infielders, especially the young ones, they're going to be shortstops at their high schools, summer ball a lot of times. So, there's definitely going to be some competition there, but Robert will be over there a lot as well, and we'll see how it turns out.
Also, Tillett, what's his future with Casey if it's coming back?
Well, I guess it would have been the same with the two transfer catchers here if they're both here. I mean, he's got to get his arm healthy, and he's got to go out and win a job. And he's been working hard. He had some trouble throwing last year, and we were pretty much in thinking we might be able to redshirt him. We just didn't know what to do with him because it's all about him getting healthy and showing us what he can do. But he's working. You need more than one catcher. You need two or three, actually. So we got to make sure that we've got that.
Thank you.
I'm going to go over to Matt Gelb. He covers the Phillies for The Athletic.
Hi, Dave. Thanks. I'm just wondering, you talked about how the Phillies were so high on Casey. What were your interactions like with Phillies people, and why do you think he fell where he did? Do you think he would have benefited really from a full season, had this all not happened?
Yeah, I think the Phillies have been interested in Casey since high school because I know a couple of their scouts, and we've talked a few times over the last year or two about Casey, and they knew that I think they had the 15th pick in the first round, and then they didn't pick again till 80-some pick where they didn't feel like that Casey Martin would be there, but there he was, and they got it. And I do believe that Casey got off to a slow start, but was really the last two games we played Grand Canyon University here. He had two great games. I think if we would have played a full season, he would have ended up having a tremendous season. So, I think it worked out for everybody as far as Casey's with a really good organization, an organization that really wanted him. I'm sure they came to a situation. I guess they came to an agreement on money, and it worked out.
Matt Jones.
Dave, AJ Lewis, when he committed, he said that he played some other positions other than catcher. Is there any thoughts maybe seeing if he can play another position if he comes?
Well, that was the whole idea of him coming along with Robert Emery, was that he plays another position or two. He played third base. He's played outfield. He's played first base. I've already talked with him. I mean, he'll have that option to play outfield. He'll have that option to, play in the infield and catch. He was one reason we wanted AJ is because he is athletic and he can do other things besides just catch.
There were some reports this week about some legislative relief, eliminating the roster size, having more counters, do some things with scholarship limits. What were your thoughts on that?
Well, exactly what they approved is what I thought they would approve. They approved that we could have 32 counters, no roster limit, but they did not approve more scholarships, and we kind of figured that. And then there was another one, where if somebody was already on a scholarship in your program and you were renewing them, some of the older kids, that you could put them on less than 25%. So it's nice to have that option. I don't know if that'll help us too much, but yeah, it was big relief for us and a lot of programs, especially in the SEC and some of the Power Fives, that we could have a bigger roster if we needed to, and then also have more counters. And I think that's going to help a lot of teams.
How much better do you think your team became with Casey Opitz coming back?
Well, Casey Opitz is one of the best players on the team and probably the best leader on the team. So I think we got a lot better.
Okay.
Bob?
Hey, Dave, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, how's everything going, man? Good to
Doing good.
talk with.
Good.
Casey Martin, I think he was at least projected prospect-wise in the top 30, top 35, and 87 is pretty good, but not as high as people projected. Do you think that's going to be a big motivating thing for him? I think he was like the 16th shortstop pick or something, according to Matt.
Oh, yeah, I think it would definitely, if you're a competitor, that's going to motivate you. And a lot of the teams maybe didn't look at him as a shortstop. They looked at him as a really good athlete, maybe even an outfielder. He can play in the infield, and, I think he would be an incredible second baseman, especially the way a lot of the big leagues are using the shifts. He can really throw. He could, you can move him all over the place. I think it was more about, in a lot of cases, it's more about what, the signing bonus more than where they select you in the draft. Because I know there's a lot of teams that are overpaying in many rounds and underpaying in a few other rounds, so they could overpay people. It was all about getting as many good players as they could. So it ended up being a good fit for Casey. I'm really happy for him and his family.
Welcome back. Unfortunately, we've not made contact with the Rocket yet, out of Rockledge High School, the new Arkansas commit. Hopefully before the segment ends, we'll be able to bring Rocket on. But I want to talk on the subject about what Kevin McPherson was talking about. I'm going to talk about it with my producer real quick because I want to get his take on it. Are you surprised with, it just seems like we're talking about 4-star, 5-star, 4-star, 5-star since Coach Eric Musselman got here. In particular, the area in which they're able to recruit. All these kids, when you talk about Darian Ford, Joe Penn, Nick Smith, Khalil Ware, and Jalen Guy King, all those kids are around in that central Arkansas area. Now, at the same time, Arkansas under Coach Anderson didn't have the recruiting success that they would have liked to have had. There was Bobby Portis. He comes to mind. But for the most part, not the real presence in Central Arkansas as Coach Musselman and his staff have had to this point. Surprising?
I don't think it's really surprising. I think, again, what gets Musselman over the edge is the experience and the connections. I think anytime you have relationships and ties that guys can see hands-on with the NBA, it makes these younger guys a little bit more interested in your program when they know you can get them in front of these GMs and guys that really can matter in the NBA.
I mean, you talk about kids, Arkansas 5 in-state. They're in the state of Minnesota, Texas, Kansas, Tennessee. When you talk to Ron Moss, another 5-star young man, Peyton Watson is a young man out of the Arizona area. The way that they've been able to go across the country is what really has stood out to me with this staff, and I really think that all the NBA experience with having Coach Williams, Coach Musk, Coach Moser, and Boykins, another Coach Boykins on staff. These kids see it, and they see it every day. They see guys that's been there, done that, coached at the highest level, can pick up a phone and call any important or influential NBA guy that's going to be making some of those decisions, Demetrius. And is that the way you see college athletics going, with coaches trying to have assistant coaches on their staffs with great resumes? Because I know, in football, Coach Sam Pittman can't recruit the linemen that he's been able to recruit if he doesn't have the portfolio like Thomas, Trey Tola, or Frank Ragnow comes to mind, guys that are first rounders, and they have something that they can go off of. How big is that?
And you speaking in football, or you
just in collegiate sports as a whole, baseball. You see Van Horn putting pros in. He's starting to cherry pick. Things of that nature. I mean, how big is that a coach has to have a person or persons that have made it to the highest level if you want to have a consistent program?
I think you need at least 3 on your staff. If you're talking football, you need at least 3. If you're talking basketball, you need 2.
Yeah.
And preferably your head coach having some type of immediate connections with the NBA. Because you look at a Calipari, that's a guy that guys know. He has relationships not only with NBA coaches but the USA team. It just goes on and on with the type of people he has connected. Nike. So you just look at that whole body of work. And in football, again, not only do you look for that NFL experience, but, what's the probability of me getting drafted to the next level? Because, again, guys come to college to play professionally. They go here just because they have to. But if they could, a lot of these guys will try to go, straight from high school to the NBA or straight from high school to, the NFL.
Also, real quick, before we take a quick break and get to our next guest, want to make an announcement that Arkansas did pick up Friday around 5 o'clock. Another running back commit, and A.J. Green, a 4-star running back out of Tulsa Union High School, is the number 3 overall high school senior in the state of Oklahoma for high school football. So another real big pickup. We'll try to have A.J. on this week before we end the week at some point. We'll reach out to him and get his thoughts on why he chose to be a Razorback. But we're going to let you hear more Dave Van Horn, and then the Hall Guys segment continue. We got to make it to California to talk to the big fella. He's up next. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins, KDSJ 479. Back in a moment.
What's your level of confidence as we sit in mid-June about playing fall ball as we know it?
I think we're going to get to play fall ball because we're an outside sport. There might be some changes on locker rooms and how many guys we can have, in the locker room, and where we have our meetings, or we may have our meetings in the stands. I don't know. Where we have to communicate, but whatever we have to do to get out and to practice. And I know a lot of other universities are saying the same thing. We just, hopefully we can get back to normal as soon as we can, but we're real optimistic that, about it, that we'll be back out there working out, hopefully come September.
Thanks, Dave.
Yep.
Hutch.
Yeah, Dave, I just wanted to confirm, you do expect the 3 guys that were drafted, the signees, they'll sign pro contracts?
Yeah, they'll sign. Yeah, they those teams wouldn't have taken them if they hadn't been in contact with them and pretty much got some dollar figures figured out.
And even without those guys, you have a lot of really talented guys coming in. You're just talking about how freshmen need to come in and make an impact. So, how many of these guys do you see possibly coming in and making an impact from day one?
It's hard to put a number on it, but we've got guys coming in here that they're physically ready to go. They're strong enough, and a lot of times that's the difference. We just have to get kids a little stronger. But we've got some confident, strong kids coming to campus that will definitely help us out. I'm going to say 7, 8, 10, 12. It's up to them. But we feel really good about the kids coming in, and they're going to help us win, and they're going to get better and develop. And I truly believe that in the 23 draft, these freshmen that are coming in now, you're going to see their names pop up pretty early.
Thanks, Dave.
Yep.
Matt Jones.
Dave, has the SEC given you any indication how they're going to handle the schedule next year in terms of conference games? Are they going to replay the 2020 schedule, or will you go to what was scheduled for 21?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we're going to play the 2020 schedule. We just don't know the order yet. We're going to play the teams at the sites we were supposed to play them at in 2020. That was the last thing that we've been told, and that we've been told that a couple of times. So we're just waiting for the order. Obviously, that could shuffle a little bit. Example, we were supposed to open on the road this year at Mississippi State. So we're going to play at Mississippi State in 21. We just don't know which weekend.
Okay. Have you had a chance to go up to Springdale and watch any of your players this summer? And what's it been like getting summer baseball scheduled with all these leagues that you like to put your players in? A lot of them aren't playing.
Yeah. No, we're just following it. We're really not supposed to be out there as far as sitting in the stands or anything. So, and yeah, I haven't been driving by keeping an eye on it. I'm just going to watch through there. I wish we could go watch games, believe me.
But what's that been like, though, setting up those summer rosters with these leagues being as in flux as they are?
Well, it's been difficult, and, I'm not the one really managing as much as my assistant coaches. Just, I know where everybody's at, where they're not going now. It's been very difficult because we really would like the young hitters to go hit. The young pitchers, we really try to keep an eye on those arms, really limit them. And if they're not pitching in a league, as long as they're working, getting ready for fall ball. And it's nice to have some of our returners, especially the offensive guys, out swinging the bats a little bit. We'll try to make up for some lost time by getting as many live at bats in fall baseball as we can, and probably more than ever. I see it right now with the pitchers that we have, and that we should be able to scrimmage a lot, like almost every day that we practice. So it'll be interesting.
You mentioned the catcher transfers earlier. You've also signed Brady Slavens and Lyle Lockhart. I wonder if you can kind of comment on the two of them and what you think of them as players. And then where do you see Slavens playing defensively? Yeah,
well, we'll start with Lockhart. I mean, he's a veteran lefty, and he's done a little bit for everything. He did a little bit of everything at Houston. He played some first base, some outfield, DH, and came out of the bullpen, and he started. This past year, he was starting for him. We think he's going to do a little bit of everything for us on the mound. Position player-wise, we don't, it's not our thinking at this time that, he's going to be a position player for us, but we want him to pitch, and I think that's more of what his future is. And, so we're excited that he decided to come on up here for his last year. And, as far as Slavens, I mean, he's swinging the bat really well this summer. I know that. I mean, he can play a little bit everywhere. He's played shortstop, third base, first base. He's played second base and outfield. So between one of those spots, I'd say he's got a pretty good shot to get in the lineup if he hits. And I think he will.
All right. Thanks, Dave.
Yep.
Bob, did you have any more?
Yeah, Dave. Sorry, did you guys call on me?
Yeah, go ahead, Bob.
Okay. Yeah, Dave, I think the first 7 or 8 picks were college guys, and obviously a lot of SEC guys were picked early and picked throughout the draft. Do you think all the college guys early, that's kind of been trending that way? Do you think that was more a byproduct of a shorter draft, or do you think that's going to keep trending? The teams, like the idea?
Welcome back. It's our Monday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio here on KDSJ 479. We come each and every day, Monday through Friday, from 1 to 2 p.m. And Coach Sam Pittman, he has a pretty good track record of finding really great offensive linemen, developing them, and having those young men move on to bigger and better things in the NFL. He thinks he has his eye, he and Coach Brad Davis, on another potential NFL prospect, a major 2021 offensive tackle prospect out of Marina, California, Palma High School, Noah Puleali. What's up, Noah?
Yes, sir. What's up? How you doing?
Doing real good, big fella. Talk about the recruiting process. How's that going for you so far heading into your senior season?
It's going great. I have 19 offers. Starting from February until now, it's been an amazing, few months. And the recruiting process never gets old. I never get tired, hearing from coaches. And hearing new coaches, and it's always good. So I'm blessed.
Talk about Arkansas. You just recently, I think, just under a week ago, received the offer from Coach
Definitely.
Brad Davis and Coach Pittman. Talk about how big that was to get that offer from an SEC school, in particular in the SEC West, such as Arkansas is.
Yeah, well, Arkansas, it is an SEC school, so it's a huge, it's big boy football. It's the best, conference in college ball. So, it's an honor to, get an offer from Arkansas. Coach Brad Davis, I like the way he approached me, and he hit me up. He was very direct. I know he has a, very close connection with all his players. So that's something I for sure want, out of my offensive line coach going to the next level.
No, when you sit down there and you watch this past NFL draft, and just to be able to see 2 first-rounders come from Georgia and them be Coach Sam Pittman guys, and now Coach goes on to be the head coach at Arkansas. How big is that to have a head coach at that position that's played and coached in the offensive line and put such a high importance on that position?
That's definitely big. I know that he's very offensive line heavy in his team. I know that he cares for him. I know that I would treat him right. Since he was, used to be an offensive line coach, and now he's the head. So I know that, they'll take good care of the big boys up in Arkansas.
What were some of the things, Noah, that you looked at following your junior season with your offensive line coach and offensive staff that you feel good about? And what are some of the to-do things that you want to work on in the offseason so that you can have the type of senior year that you hope to have?
Definitely. I want to work on my speed. I always want to work on my speed, my conditioning. I want to be able to play every play, with 110% of my ability. My balance, I never want to get off balance. Those are just a few things that I've been working on this offseason.
Who are some of the other schools, Noah, that's showing you, quote, in social media world, love and recruiting you the hardest and trying to get you to pick their school either early or that first weekend in February?
Yeah, some schools that are recruiting me pretty good. ASU, Cal Berkeley, UCLA is going pretty hard right now since they offered me about 2 weeks ago. Kansas State is pretty hard. Florida, and Oklahoma. Those are probably the schools that are recruiting me the hardest.
When you sit down, you watch collegiate football, the pros on Saturday or Sunday. Who are some of those guys that you like to watch at your position? And then take parts of what they do, Noah, and kind of add it to what you do on the weekends.
Quentin Nelson, he's an inspiration for me at the next level. I love the way he plays. He's fast, he's aggressive. Joe Thomas is also another one.
Big time. Now,
Tyron Smith.
Okay. Now, when I come to California out there at Palma High School for 4 quarters, when that ball is kicked off, what type of football player will I see in big number 73, Noah Pulea Lee?
You're going to see an aggressive, explosive, fast-paced, offensive tackle.
Now, let's have a little fun, my man. We out there in the sunshine. We out there in Cali, you and myself, riding around. Big Noah, you and me. I'm the OG in the vehicle. What will be the first 5 songs, Noah, that you're going to play for the OG on your playlist? What am I listening to?
Oh, man. Probably some Lil Uzi Vert, some Gunna. I'm more into the new day rap. I'm not anymore. I still listen to OG stuff, but I'll probably Prices by Lil Uzi Vert.
Okay.
I'll do Better by Gunna.
One more.
I'll do Matt Gallo by Gunna.
All right.
I'll do let's see. I'll do Bigger Than Life by Lil Uzi Vert.
So you kicking it, man. You got the club. The floor is packed. All the women and the men, everybody's just jumping in the club. Noah, I'm feeling you. And last question, Noah, and I want to thank you for taking time out, big fella, to join us here today and talk Hogs and much, much more. But when football is done with, you played collegiately, fulfilled your dream of playing in the NFL, and just decided you're done with it. You're hanging up your cleats, shoulder pads, and helmet. What will Noah Pulea Lee of Palma High School in Marianna, California, what will he be doing with life after football?
Life after football is something I definitely have to think about. Political science or something like that will probably be my college major I'll go with. Not fully decided yet, but I'll probably, I want to find something to do with that major. Just going in after football, right after football.
Real quick before I let you go, are you going to sign early, Noah, or are you still planning to sign that first Wednesday in February, the traditional signing day?
Yeah, February is still the set date. It could change, but February is what I'm planning to.
You think Arkansas gets an official visit before I let you go?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, Noah, hey, thanks for taking time out, man. This can't be our last time. Let's have some Noah Pule updates throughout the year as the football season gets in. You down for it?
Yes, sir, definitely.
All right, big fella. You have a great senior year, and thanks for taking time out on OTH today.
All right, thank you so much. You have a good one.
That was Noah Pule Ali, the big offensive tackle out of Palmer High School out in California. Demetrius, is it just me, or it seems like everybody that Pittman and Davis are offering on the offensive line are just big, physically strong football players?
Yeah, you're starting to see a trend. Those guys over that 300 mark, they're usually about 6'4", 6'3". I think it's just a testament to what Sam Pittman said he was going to be able to bring to Arkansas. Yesterday he was talking, or excuse me, last week he was talking about the type of athlete that he wanted when he was talking about giving a scholarship to running back
TJ Hammond.
He was talking about how he could make the team better. And one way he said we can either get faster or we can get bigger bodies. And I think you're seeing the identity that he really wants to bring on that offensive line with big bodies.
Well, that's going to wrap up our show today. We want to give a thanks for Kevin McPherson of Hogville.net and AR Hoop School. Also of Big Trail Nation. He came on and we talked early contact period for those 2022s and maybe some 2021s they got their eye on there with Coach Musselman and that staff. And then I want to apologize. Wasn't able to get on Raheem Rocket Sanders. We'll reach out and try to get him on at some point this week and get his thoughts on why he chose to be a Razorback. And lastly, Noah Pule Ali out of Marion, California. Palmer High School, the big offensive tackle, has had a lot of good things to say. Arkansas, I think, is going to be in the running for the big fella. Also, too, make a note. We're going to tell you something tomorrow. There's something going on. Going to be a special 6 o'clock. Now, write it down. Listen, we're saying it. Special 6 p.m. tomorrow evening on the Hill Show. All right? At 6 p.m. Make sure you tune in. We got a big commitment coming on. I'm not going to tell you who it is. But at 6 p.m. on the Hill, we'll be live for about 30 to 40 minutes and get all breaking news on the big commitment that's about to take place tomorrow evening. But we'll tune in as we get more details. We'll give them out to you. But 6 p.m. It's going to be a special edition of OTH tomorrow night. All right? But for our guests and for myself and for Demetrius Johnston, my producer, the man behind the scenes, once again, also, too, this show was brought to you by Lindsay & Associates with an office location in Fayetteville, an office location also, too, in Rogers, Locomotion, located just below the Northwest Arkansas Mall, Corey Beck's Custom Painting, and our good buddies down at KDK's Chicken at 989 South Razorback Road. Go get down there and see Keith and Kat to get some of that love. Like to say, it's not your mama's, I say it. It's best chicken and waffles in the South. Meet us there or beat us there. That's KDK's Chicken at 989 South Razorback Road. That's going to do it for us today. We'll be back tomorrow, I'm telling you. Tomorrow night, make a note. On the Hill, we'll have a special 6 p.m. broadcast from our studio at 6 p.m. We'll be on normal time, 1 to 2, but we'll be back on tomorrow night for a special edition of On the Hill at 6 p.m. That's going to do it for today. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. Y'all have a blessed one, and you know what I say. Let's get it.